I'm 31, and until 3 weeks ago, I thought I had my life figured out. I'd been with Ethan for 4 years. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party, hit it off immediately, and within 6 months we were inseparable. He was smart, handsome, had this infectious laugh that could light up a room. I proposed last December during a weekend trip to the mountains. He said yes. We set the date for October. Everything seemed perfect. The cracks started showing around late August. Ethan had always been close with his college friends, which I never minded. But there was this one woman, Marissa. She'd pop up in conversations more frequently. Marissa said this funny thing at brunch, or Marissa thinks we should go with the ivory invitations instead of cream. I brushed it off at first. He'd known her for years, and I trusted him. Then came the engagement party. My parents hosted it at their house. Nothing fancy, just close family and friends. About 40 people. Ethan's friends showed up, including Marissa. Tall woman, worked in finance, wore a suit that probably cost more than my car payment. She had this way of standing just a bit too close to Ethan, touching his elbow when she talked to him. I was in the kitchen grabbing more ice when I overheard Ethan talking to his friend Jess near the patio doors. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but Ethan's voice carried. I mean, she's stable, Ethan said. Good with money, wants kids, checks all the boxes. But, Jess prompted, Marissa just texted me. She finally ended things with Steve. She said she's been thinking about you. My stomach dropped. I stood there frozen, holding a bag of ice like an idiot. You're engaged? Jess said, her tone cautious. Ethan laughed. I know. It's just nice to have options, you know. If things don't work out, Marissa is right there like a safety net. I didn't confront him right then. I should have, but I was in shock. I went back to the party, played the happy fiancé, and tried to process what I'd heard. That night, lying in bed next to him, I kept replaying those words. Nice to have options, like a safety net. The next morning, I asked him about Marissa casually over coffee. Hey, you and Marissa seem close lately. Is everything cool? He barely looked up from his phone. Yeah, why? Just wondering. She was pretty attentive at the party. He rolled his eyes. You're not seriously jealous, are you? Marissa is a friend. That's it. I let it go, but I started paying more attention. The text that made him smile and quickly lock his phone. The extra effort he put into his appearance before book club on Thursday nights. The way he'd casually mentioned Marissa had given him advice on wedding vendors or honeymoon destinations. 2 weeks before the wedding, we had our final venue walkthrough. The coordinator was going over seating arrangements, and Ethan was distracted, texting someone and smiling. When the coordinator asked him a question, Ethan didn't even hear it. Ethan, I said. He looked up annoyed. What? She asked about the head table configuration. Ethan waved his hand dismissively. Whatever you think is fine. After the meeting in the parking lot, I'd had enough. Who are you texting? Jesus, what is with you lately? He shoved his phone into his pocket. It's just Marissa. She had a question about her +1. Right, Marissa. I took a breath. Ethan, I need you to be honest with me. What's going on with her? He stared at me for a long moment, and I saw something flicker across his face. Not guilt, something worse. Calculation. Then he laughed. This light, airy laugh, like I'd asked him something absurd. You're being paranoid, but fine. You want honesty? Marissa is interested. She's made that clear. And yeah, it's flattering. But I'm marrying you, aren't I? That's not exactly reassuring. He stepped closer, touched my chest. Look, relationships are complicated. It's good to have contingencies. If you mess up, if this doesn't work out, I have options. Marissa would marry me tomorrow. Think of it as motivation for you to be the best wife you can be. I just stared at him. Did you seriously just tell me you have a backup fiancé? He shrugged. I'm being practical. Most people just think it. I'm honest enough to say it. Something in me went very cold and very calm. All right, I said, bring her on. His eyes narrowed. What? If Marissa is your backup plan, let's make her the primary plan. Call her. Tell her to come to the rehearsal dinner Friday night. He laughed again, but this time it was uncertain. You're being ridiculous. No, I'm being practical. You want contingencies? Let's test them. I didn't sleep much that week. Ethan tried to play it off like the parking lot conversation was a joke, that I'd misunderstood him, but I knew what I'd heard. More importantly, I knew what I'd felt in that moment. The absolute certainty that the man I was about to marry saw me as a comfortable option, not the love of his life. Friday came. The rehearsal dinner was at an Italian restaurant my parents loved. 50 guests. Ethan had gone all out with the decorations. little gold frames with our photos on every table. I'd told my best friend Derek everything. He thought I was crazy for not just calling off the wedding, but he agreed to help. Marissa showed up. Ethan hadn't invited her to the rehearsal dinner originally, but I'd texted her myself from Ethan's phone 2 days earlier. "Hey, would love for you to come to the rehearsal dinner. Important night." When she walked in, Ethan's face went white, then red. He pulled me aside near the restrooms. "What the hell is she doing here?" "You said she was your backup. I figured she should be here. Important night, right?" "This isn't funny." "I'm not laughing." He tried to compose himself, went back to playing host, but I could see him glancing at Marissa, who'd positioned herself near the bar, looking confused but pleased to be there. After dinner, during toasts, I stood up. Everyone quieted down, expecting the standard "thank you for coming" speech. "I want to thank everyone for being here," I started. "Ethan and I have been together 4 years, and I thought I knew him completely. But recently I learned something new about him. Ethan believes in having backup plans, specifically backup fiancés." The room went dead silent. Ethan's mouth fell open. I pulled the engagement ring box from my pocket. "Ethan told me that if I mess up, he has Marissa here as a contingency plan, so I thought, why wait? Why make her sit on the bench?" I walked over to Marissa, who looked like a deer in headlights, and handed her the ring box. "She's all yours. Consider this my gift to both of you." Marissa tried to take the box, her fingers fumbling with it, and that's when the silence became so thick you could hear a pin drop. No one moved. No one breathed. Ethan's mother stood up. "What is happening right now?" Ethan found his voice. "This is insane. She's twisting everything." "I never said—" "You said it was good to have options," I interrupted, my voice still calm. "Those were your exact words." Jess, who'd been at the engagement party, wouldn't meet anyone's eyes. Ethan looked at her desperately, but Jess shook her head slightly. Marissa finally spoke. "Ethan, what's she talking about?" Ethan's face crumpled, not from sadness, but from rage. "You're humiliating me in front of everyone." "No," I said, "I'm just being practical, like you." I walked out of the restaurant. Derek followed me, and we sat in his car in the parking lot for 20 minutes, while my phone exploded with calls and texts. The wedding was supposed to be the next day, Saturday. I didn't show up, obviously. I'd already called the venue Friday night from Derek's phone and canceled everything. My parents handled notifying guests. The fallout was nuclear. Ethan's parents demanded I reimburse them for their half of the wedding costs. My dad told them to pound sand, that their son had treated me like a participation trophy. Ethan himself swung between apologetic texts. "I didn't mean it the way it sounded. We can fix this." And furious ones. "You're a coward for not working through this like an adult." Marissa apparently had no idea Ethan had been positioning her as a backup plan. He'd been flirting with her, sure, but she thought it was harmless since he was engaged. When Ethan tried to pivot and actually pursue her after I left, she turned him down. She sent me a message on Instagram. "Rebecca, I'm sorry. I didn't know what he was doing. That was messed up." The worst part? Ethan started telling people I'd overreacted to a joke, that he'd been teasing me, and I'd taken it too seriously because of insecurity issues. Some of his friends bought it. A few mutual friends reached out to me asking if there was more to the story, if maybe I'd been controlling or jealous, and this was just the breaking point. I sent them the parking lot conversation in writing, which I'd started recording on my phone after I overheard him at the engagement party. I'm not proud of that, the recording, but I'd had a feeling I might need proof. The audio was clear, his voice saying, "If things don't work out, Marissa is right there, like a safety net." People stopped asking questions after that. By mid-October, Ethan had moved out of our shared apartment and back in with his parents. I kept the place since my name was the only one on the lease. He came by once with his mother to get his stuff, wouldn't look at me, just pointed at boxes and let his mom do the talking. "You destroyed him," his mom said. "He destroyed us," I replied. "I just made it public. I got a therapist. Needed one. Spent a lot of sessions talking about trust and how you know when to walk away versus when to fight for something." My therapist said something that stuck with me. "Someone who truly values you doesn't keep replacements warming up in the bullpen." Through Derek, I heard Ethan had been seeing someone new, not Marissa, some guy from his gym. It had only been 3 weeks since the rehearsal dinner. Derek said Ethan was posting all over social media about finding real love and knowing your worth. The irony wasn't lost on me. My work friends were supportive. I hadn't mentioned my job before because it genuinely didn't matter to this situation. But I'm in logistics management. My boss, who'd been invited to the wedding, told me he respected how I handled it. Most women would have married him and been miserable for years before figuring it out. Maybe. But I kept thinking about standing at that altar, saying vows to someone who saw me as the safe choice, the stable option, while keeping someone better in his back pocket just in case. I couldn't do it. December rolled around, almost exactly a year since I'd proposed. I was doing okay. Not great, but okay. Dating wasn't on my radar yet. I'd started going to the gym more, picked up playing guitar again, spent more time with my sister and her kids. Then Ethan's friend Jess reached out. We'd always gotten along, but she'd sided with Ethan after everything went down. Her message was short. Can we talk? There's something you should know. We met for coffee. She looked uncomfortable, kept stirring her latte without drinking it. Ethan's getting married, she said finally. I blinked. That was fast. Yeah, the gym guy. They're doing a courthouse thing next month. Good for him, I guess. Jess shook her head. That's not why I wanted to talk. He's been telling people that you cheated on him. That's why you blew up at the rehearsal dinner. He said he found messages on your phone and confronted you, and you turned it around on him to make yourself look better. My chest tightened. That's a complete lie. I know. I was there. I heard what he said at your engagement party, and I saw what happened at the dinner. But he's convincing, and people who weren't there are believing him. Why are you telling me this? Jess looked at me directly. Because it's not fair, and because I think you should know he's told his new fiancée the same story. He has no idea what really happened. He thinks you're some cheating ex who broke Ethan's heart. I thanked her for the heads up. After she left, I sat in my car and felt nothing. Not anger, not hurt, just a weird sense of relief that I'd dodged something catastrophic. If Ethan was willing to rewrite history this drastically, imagine what our marriage would have been like. It's been 7 months since the rehearsal dinner. Ethan got married to the gym guy in January. I saw photos online. Small ceremony, just immediate family. He looked happy. I hope he is. I mean that genuinely. People are capable of change. Or maybe he found someone who actually is his first choice. Marissa ended up moving to Seattle for work. We're not friends, but there's no bad blood. She got caught in Ethan's mess through no real fault of her own. My parents stopped asking when I'd start dating again. My mom keeps trying to set me up with her coworkers' sons, but I'm not ready yet. Maybe soon. I've been going to therapy regularly, working on understanding why I ignored the red flags for so long. Why I needed him to explicitly say he had a backup plan before I believed my gut. The engagement ring is in a drawer somewhere. I thought about returning it, but the jeweler's return window closed while I was dealing with everything. It sits there as an expensive reminder that sometimes the best decision you can make is the one that feels the most painful in the moment. People ask if I regret how I handled it, making that scene at the rehearsal dinner. Honestly, could I have pulled him aside privately, called off the wedding quietly? Sure, but he'd made me feel like an interchangeable part in his life plan, and something in me needed him to feel what that was like. Maybe that makes me petty. I'm okay with that. Derek's getting married next spring. I'm standing up with him. He keeps joking that I should check if his fiancée has a backup best woman, just to be safe. We laugh about it, but there's truth under the humor. Trust is everything. The moment you realize someone's keeping one foot out the door, you need to have the courage to open that door fully and let them walk through it. I'm doing okay now. Some days are harder than others, but I wake up knowing that whoever I end up with next won't be keeping me on a shelf labeled Plan A for now. And that's worth every awkward conversation, every pitying look, every night I've spent alone trying to figure out where things went wrong. Edit 1. A lot of people have asked if I ever got the full story on what Ethan was texting Marissa about. I didn't, and I don't want to. Whatever it was, the intent was clear enough. Edit 2. Yes, I still have the recording. No, I won't post it. It served its purpose. Some things can stay private. Edit 3. For everyone asking about the ring, it cost $8,500. Still sitting in my dresser. I can't bring myself to sell it yet. Maybe one day.